The CEO of Gearbox Entertainment Company, Randy Pitchford, is under a lot of fire right now, otherwise known for basically being the boss of the recent Borderlands 4 release. And the reason he's under fire is because Borderlands 4 is just suffering from huge performance issues. But it's not just that. I think it's absolutely fair for gamers and consumers to spend $70 on a game and expect that the game just performs well. There shouldn't be a need to have to purchase brand new hardware in order to be able to enjoy a game. If you have a computer that's a few years old, you should just be able to enjoy it. But Randy Pitchford is having like a meltdown on Twitter. It is very sad to see, and I'm going to talk more about it. Basically having a meltdown, telling people, code your own engine and show us how it's done, please. But that's the thing though, it's not just that. There is a lot of story to this, and I want to rant about it for a bit. Because again, it's not just that PC players don't have the recommended specifications. Even on PlayStation 5, which is very expensive and like top of the line hardware right now, even on PlayStation 5, people are having horrible performance. I'm going to show you this video of performance on the PlayStation 5. Yeah, that's right. YouTube isn't broken. The video is not broken. It is the gameplay. This is the PS5 experience of Borderlands 4. It is still just frozen. Dear God, it's been a while. And there you go. Okay, back to normal performance here on the PlayStation 5. So a lot of people are talking about major memory leaks on the PlayStation 5 and PC, and that's all this is. What's really irritating is, like, again, I'm going to show more of this. The CEO, Randy Pitchford, is just saying, oh, well, you gotta tweak the settings, you gotta lower some things, you gotta use DLSS. These are all tools at your disposal to make the game run as it should be. But let's just look at the actual core details here. Number one, a $70 game should be released in a state that is actually functional. In addition to that, let's just look at some of the other details. So it's not performing well on PlayStation 5. PC users are also having a huge issue, and this is literally system requirements on Steam right now. It says recommended an NVIDIA RTX 3080. And you can see here, based on the screenshot, I just went on Newegg and I just sorted by new RTX 3080. These things are selling for minimum like $500 all the way up to like low $1,000 range. Friendly reminder that Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree just came out last year. The recommended PC specs is a GeForce GTX 1070, which is very, very old hardware. And I would say that most people agree that Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree had beautiful, beautiful visuals. A very, very nice looking game. We also have to remind ourselves that Borderlands 1, 2, 3, and 4 all pretty much look the same. This is a video of someone just comparing like Borderlands 2, 3, and 4. And you can see here, like, this is Borderlands 2. You know, looks like a cel-shaded game. This is also Borderlands 2. And this is Borderlands 4, and it looks pretty much identical. It looks like the same exact game, which begs the question, if it looks exactly the same, why are there huge performance issues? And I can only make hunches. I can only put on my tinfoil hat and have conspiracy theories and say these alleged things. I can only imagine that with the newer NVIDIA hardware, where the hardware is very dependent on fake frames and DLSS for optimization, I imagine that game developers and coders are just becoming very dependent on that, and they're leaning on it as a crutch, and they're just rushing out games so that they can produce more, and they're not actually taking the time to optimize games. A great example of something like this is, I remember when Metal Gear Solid 5 came out a very long time ago. Dear God, that game was so well optimized, you could run that game on like a potato PC. And I did. I really enjoyed that game. I had it on like high or ultra settings, and it ran amazing because the developers actually took their time to actually optimize the game and make it so that it runs on most hardware. So it really is crazy how, like, we're gonna look at Randy Pitchford's meltdown online, but it really is crazy. Why are you defending yourself? You could have just delayed the game by a little bit and just made it into something that would perform on most hardware and didn't require people to upgrade their PC specs. But that's not even the full argument. It's not even working that well on PS5 either. So it's not just people people needing to lower settings. It's everywhere. The game is just not well optimized, and you just have to lower the settings all across the board. So this is some of the meltdown on Twitter from Randy Pitchford. We had come see us work prove that that's not even English. We had come see us work prove that through setting tweaks only. I'm so confused reading this. Randy Pitchford, what are you saying? Setting tweaks only, being able to climb up to 120 FPS on PC in Borderlands 4 3 and 4-year-old hardware. Your mileage may vary, but please consider using the tools available to you to tune your own balance between FPS resolution and graphics features. If you are running Windows 10, try enabling hardware scheduling using your graphics driver settings. We've seen a lot of Windows 10 users get an immediate 25% to 50% FPS boost just from that, as default settings in Windows 10 aren't optimized for a 2025 game on modern hardware. Again, I don't understand. Just develop your game so that it just works well on older hardware. Plenty of developers do that. And the games look beautiful. They look better than Borderlands 4. I don't get it. Another one, I play with volumetric fog turned off. I like the performance boosts I get there, and I personally don't think the fog adds enough to be worth it. Some folks on the team think it's super important for visuals and in a few scenes, but it's not worth the trade-off for me. Again, I just don't understand. Just make the game work properly with all the settings turned on. Just do the work. Like, you're shipping out a game that's half-baked, and people are having performance issues, and you're saying, oh, just turn this setting off. I shouldn't have to do that for a $70 game. You should just make it work on most hardware. If you have a DLSS option, use it, especially if you're trying to run at resolutions higher than 1080p. This is a campaign game. You're not competing in a high-stakes esports here. The input latency is so insanely negligible. That would be less than 0.01% of the population could reliably detect it without tools in a blind test. Take the W on frame rate and use this incredible tech with DLSS on. In other words, I'm translating, yeah, we leaned on DLSS as a huge crutch. We didn't ship out a game that was well optimized. You're going to have to lean on all these tools to make the game perform and run at a reasonable frame rate. Then this person responds, or just an idea here, make your game look good without relying on AI upscale, which is a huge point. Just ship out the game so it actually works on older hardware, on common hardware. Most people have an RTX 3000 series or 2000 series, or some people, maybe they have an 1000 series. Most people do not have the highest end hardware because it's expensive. Then Randy Pitchford comes back with an absolute meltdown. Code your own engine and show us how it's done, please. We will be your customer when you pull it off. The people doing it now are clearly dumb and don't know what they're doing, and all the support and recommendations and code and architecture from the world's greatest hardware companies and tech companies working with the world's greatest real-time graphics engine coders don't know what you seem to know. /sarcasm. And then the person gets back saying, you reacted so terribly, IGN and Dexerto had to comment on this. Jesus man, LMAO. Touched a nerve, Randy? So yeah, point being here in this like Twitter meltdown, like I think it's great if a CEO wants to go on Twitter and just speak their mind, like so be it, I'm not going to judge you. But the meltdown clearly shows that the guy is immature and he's not willing to accept feedback. It would be a great opportunity to build a fan base for the new Borderlands 4 if Randy Pitchford could just come forward and say, I'm going to have some humility here. I'm going to step forward and take accountability and say, you know what, you guys are right. We had a tough time optimizing the game and we were tight on schedule and we couldn't delay the game any further. We had to ship it out as is, and we're going to have some patches incoming to make the game more optimized, but this is on me. We made a mistake and we're going to try our best to make this a better experience for you guys. That's what he could have said. Just accept the feedback that the game is not well optimized. And it's really annoying because it's becoming a habit now where game companies are rushing for their schedule because they're under the thumb of corporate headquarters. So they're shipping out games that are half-baked and they're not optimized. You need the brand new, most up-to-date, expensive hardware in order to run the game at like a moderate FPS and graphic settings. And a lot of new releases now are just not well optimized. They're performing terribly, and it's becoming a really big complaint. It's clearly a big problem. Companies just need to stop rushing and just take their time and actually optimize the game. I get the fears. Again, I referenced Metal Gear Solid 5, but that spelled huge disaster because Metal Gear Solid 4 and 5 had scheduling issues where they were delayed, and clearly the developers took their time and they put their heart and soul into it. The games ran beautifully. High graphics settings on older hardware. They were clearly very well optimized, but look how that turned out for Kojima. Konami was very, very upset about things being delayed and not being on schedule, and that is like the big issue here, is when a company goes corporate, everything goes downhill. And in closing, yeah, Randy Pitchford did say some things on Twitter, basically saying if you discover your system can't run the game well by accident or wishful thinking, and or don't want to try to mess with the settings to make things good enough for you, please use the refund feature on Steam rather than have a subpar experience. And like, yeah, sure, just refund the game, no big deal. But again, like, I don't understand. If your goal is to make money as a company, all you have to do is deliver a good customer experience, and I really don't think fans of Borderlands 4 would be upset if the game were 4 delayed by a few months or even a year if it means that the game is going to run really well. And the most wild thing to me about all this is that Borderlands 4 doesn't look any better than 2 or 3. They look exactly the same. So yeah, just another Twitter meltdown, just another like CEO having a completely delusional take, and again, another game release where the optimization is terrible, the performance is terrible, and fans are not happy about it. So give it a few years, but some of these companies are probably going to die out if they're just going to continue to deliver a subpar experience while the prices of games continue to go up. Because generally speaking, I personally would say that if I'm going to play Borderlands 4, I'm not going to play it with performance issues. I'm just going to wait until the game is like half off on sale and when the bugs are fixed. Anyways, yep, that's about it, ranting about Randy Pitchford. Maybe Randy Pitchford should pitch at the Gearbox Entertainment Company board meetings that they should have better optimization and remove the performance issues. That sounds like a good pitch to me.